What's going on? How you doing? How are ya? Going live again. This time, oh, what is going on, yo? Why will this not charge? Why will this not charge? Oh my god, my thing will not charge. Welcome. I tried going live a little bit earlier and I got caught up in the news. I got caught up, had to do some stuff. Groot, what's up? Good to see you. I was gonna just chill for a minute, see if some more people stopped in. If not, I want to share this with you. Um, so I want to talk about this for a minute. And I don't know. I don't have answers yet. In fact, I'm trying to keep my thing charged. So I just sent an email. I just got off a job interview. And something, Groot, you're a young kid. I want to teach you something. Never ignore your gut, your heart. My daughter, when I was telling her this, she said, I thought it was always follow your heart. What's the difference between your heart and your gut? I said, well, they're kind of the same thing. They're not. There's some differences. But for the most part, we're going to talk about guts, not heart. Heart, I think there's more soul involved. Well, we won't get into nitpicking, but I want to, any young heads out there, the Utes, anyone under the age of 40, you're young. Never ignore your gut. And I'm not saying that your gut is going to be 100% right, but this is an important lesson that I'm sharing with you in real time. So I've been in this job interview process for a week now. I'm not young, definitely not telling you my age. Always trust your gut. Always. And this is one of those instances. So I've been doing this job interview process. And they reached out to me, and that was a little suspect. But I get people that reach out all the time with jobs, job postings. Hey, you want to apply for this? So you got to find the right fit. But there was a job that reached out to me that sounded absolutely perfect. Of course it did, right? But I don't know. I just emailed the main company and said, hey, I literally before I went live, I just emailed this company and said, hey, I just want to double check if this job is for real. I've been going through this job interview process, and I know that there are fake job postings out there. I know that there are ghost jobs out there. Ghost jobs are just jobs that they post that exist, but they'll never hire anybody for it. And I know that for a fact because when I worked in radio, they would do this. They legally had to post the job, um, but they weren't going to hire it. Or they already had somebody picked and they weren't actually going to give them the title because then it would come with more money. They would just give them the position. It's all these clever corporate workings to basically make sure they didn't have to pay people more. But this job that I've been interviewing with, what's up, Rip Aura? It's a cool name, Rip Aura. This job, I said, you know what? It sounds good. Let me find out more. All it's doing is taking up my time. And when you're young, time is whatever. As you get older, time becomes more valuable. Well, I guess time's always valuable, but you know what I'm getting at. When you're young, you think you got infinite time. When you're older, time becomes more of a valuable commodity. Uh, so I've been doing this interview, right? First, it was an HR email. Seemed legit. The email seemed a little off, but I said nothing. And then they said, I'm subscribing. Good luck with everything. Thank you, Ripor. Well, listen, I'm going to keep you guys up to date. In fact, if I get an email, I emailed the company, the corporation right now, asking them, hey, I just want to confirm with you that these people work for you. I gave them everybody's name that I've interacted with and just wanted to confirm. And if this company thinks I'm crazy for it, oh well. But if this turns out to be a legit job scam, these people should know being who's who is pretending to be them, who the imposters are, or at least the names they're using. And listen, I I double check these people through LinkedIn, but it's very easy to make a fake LinkedIn. Um, I had a dream last night where my guard angel let me smoke weed with Bob Marley. Amazing dream. James Fortune. Well, your last name says it all. The dream is a fortune. It's an amazing dream. I bet you were bummed when you had to wake up. Your guardian angel brought you to smoke with Bob Marley. My God. You should write that down, James. That should be a great part of a movie or a cartoon where somebody falls asleep and their guardian angel brings them to smoke with Bob Marley. I love that. I love that. I think it's deeper than I know, yes. I think it is deeper than you know, too. So please write it down. Have a dream journal. I love my dreams and I hate my dreams. It all depends. Sometimes my dreams can make me scared to go to sleep, and sometimes my dreams can make me never want to wake up. What's up, Curtis? Good to see you. Oh, Curtis, you'll like this. I'm talking about a job interview that I've been on this interview process for a week. And before I came live, I'm not going to talk about news. I linked a bunch of news articles down below. I was talking news earlier, but this I wanted to get people's feedback. More than feedback, I want to see. My gut says something's off. I texted my wife. I said, "Did that phone interview? Something seems weird. I gotta trust my gut, because when I ignore my gut, I always go, I should never ignored my gut." But so let me catch you guys up. For a week, I've been in this job interview process. And there were little things, pay attention to the details, little things that I thought were off. The email address seems a little weird. The interview process, now I know the interview process nowadays is maniacal. The HR lady sent me to a Microsoft Teams interview. And when I tried to do that, it seemed like it was an AI generated bot. So I wrote the I wrote the HR lady back and said, "Hey, is this like an AI chat? Like, because this seems really suspect." I said, "I need to confirm with you." And she wrote me back and said, No, it's not. The person there is there." And I said, it seems a little weird, but okay, I'll just trust you, because if you're going to lie to me, that's not on me. That's showing your character. I asked, and if you're going to lie, I'll just trust you and I'll go ahead. So through Microsoft Teams, I did this whole interview, couple hours, like a long Microsoft Teams interview. I couldn't believe it. And at the getting phone calls, man. And at the end, they said, "We'd like to now schedule a phone interview." And I was like, "All right, cool. I wish we had done a phone interview first, but however you want to do it." So they scheduled it. And I'm just going to cut some stuff out, but I just got off the phone interview and it seemed a little weird. Again, am I live again? Hello, can you guys hear me? Hello, can anybody hear me? Hello. Sorry, somebody was leaving me a message. Curtis, if you're still here, can you let me know if you guys can hear me? Hopefully. I don't want to continue on with the story. Copy that. All right, thank you, Bandito. Oh, Bandito's here. All right, so quick recap, because I got paused out for a second. Job interview process for the past week. Here's all the things, just in case you're looking for a job. These are the things that set off alarms for me. They reached out to me, okay? And I apply to a lot of jobs, but this wasn't one that I could even find, okay? So they reached out to me. I couldn't find the job, but I didn't let them know this stuff. After HR set me up with Microsoft Teams seemed like an AI chatbot. And I asked HR about it, and she said, "No, it's a real person." And I said, "Okay, the language is very AI." Like the way they're talking to me is very AI. And I said, "Okay, what can I do? I have to trust you. If you're going to lie to me," I'm not saying they were, but I just said, your job as a human is to trust people when they tell you something. So I did that. I spent hours on that Microsoft Teams interview. They wanted to set up the phone interview. I just got done with the phone interview. I just got off. And immediately hanging up the phone, even I asked the dude after he interviewed me, I said, "So what else does this process look like?" And he said, "It seems like you're right for the job. I want you to reach out to the teams after this to follow up on this interview." And I said, "Really? So, there's nothing else surrounding this. Can you give me any more information?" And that's where like I went, my gut is saying something's like really weird, because you don't send someone back to the Microsoft Teams And I don't know. I think this job is fake, and it's a bummer because I would love to get a cool job. Um, and I haven't written the Microsoft Teams back. I will, but I wanted to come on here first because this is a learning lesson for young kids. What I told my wife the other day when I started this interview process, and I said something in my gut about this job, about these people that are contacting me for this job. I said something in my gut says there's something off. Like I wasn't 100% confident, right? Something in my gut. I said, and I gotta trust that. She knows. She knows when I say stuff like that. Like I can't doubt it, or it just bugs me all day long. Um, and something, oh man. But the fact that this dude was just like, "You're good for the job. Contact us on Teams," really bugged me. Right? Really was like, that's weird. Like that's not how I've been through many job interviews. I've gotten many jobs. I've gotten high caliber jobs where there's contracts involved and lawyers and reading stuff. I've gotten jobs where it's just a simple welcome to the team, a handshake. Um, and this one seemed just a little off because after asking, like, there's usually some kind of protocol when you're joining a new team. And there was none of that. But what I was telling my wife the other day when I said, something's really off about this and it bugs me, something deep in my soul, it bugs me. I said, because people must be recruiters pulling through talent deception. Bandito. Well, that's, yeah, God damn, Bandito. You got to come and do this show with me. I need you on this show, Bandito. Bandito, let's plan to do this show together. I need your insights. But I told my wife, I said, you know what really bugs me? If you just Google scams or listen to the news about scams, what do hackers and scammers and people go after? Who are they going after? They go after the most vulnerable, right? It's usually old folks. You always see old folks getting scammed. And you always see people who are looking for work getting scammed. That's like the new big one, like these fake job postings. There was a news story. I think I talked about it in the live. Yeah, let's talk Bandito on Discord. But I think I talked about it in one of my lives at one point that there was this whole grift about people applying for jobs, and the job recruiters and the so-called businesses were saying like, all right, now you just need to put up $2,000 for the computer and da da da, and people were paying these employers, and it turned out to be a scam. And it bugged me so bad because I was like, out of everybody in the world, and no one deserves to be scammed, right? But out of everybody in the world to pick as a target, why would you pick old folks and people looking for work? Like, why would you pick the most vulnerable? Well, we know why they pick the most vulnerable, because what are they going to do? They're already pushed to the sidelines. They're already short on resources. They don't have an army of lawyers. We understand that. But I'm talking about the human aspect, not like the ripe for grifting. I'm talking about like the human component of it. Like, why do grifters, scammers, even the president, why do they go after the most vulnerable, the people who feel the most fragile in their circumstances? It's such a, I don't even know how to describe it. It's such like, it's worse than rotten. It's like a maliciously rot. It's like if you've ever tasted durian, oh, it tastes like hot garbage. And if you could imagine if a raccoon fought a skunk and they both died on top of a durian, like that is what I would imagine their soul smells like when they open to speak. That emanates out of their mouth. Because for people to go, we're going to set up an elaborate grift, right? Where we have people to pretend to be HR. We set up a fake AI chat Teams, Microsoft Teams. We set up people to man the phones to really sell it to these people that we're real. And I'm not saying this happened to me, but I'm just saying this is happening in general in America. Well, everywhere, but I said, for those people to go after people that are just looking to find some work, to make some money, and those people trying to steal money from people who need to work, who have probably the least, or old people who are living off a fixed budget. It's like there's got to be some kind of, it'd just be cool. Now that we see the president can just do whatever he wants, he's not held liable. He's basically a king, right? The Supreme Court ruled he can't be found tried for anything while he's sitting in the office. It'd be cool if the president was like, you know what, everybody, well, if he wasn't a grifter, but if some president at some point was like, well, since the courts can't come after me, we're gonna round up all the grifters and put them in a huge fight club. Where it's like the ultimate, it's like a Mortal Kombat ultimate challenge, last man standing, and then that person just gets to live in prison for the rest of their life. Rip, hello, good to see you. MLM pyramids are still operating without oversight. Yep. Well, that's why I did. I don't know if you guys saw my latest Tony Robbins Dean Graziosi video. Like once you dive, the first video I did, I was just kind of having fun. I didn't do too much research. My whole thing was like I attended his seminar for 3 days, and I did. And that's brutal to go through. Fuck, that's something where you're like, God, man, the hard sell after hard sell. That's like, pushing you to not want to choke somebody. But the reason I did the second Dean Graziosi video, because once I found out he was federally indicted and he was having to pay restitution to people he grifted, I thought, how did number one Tony Robbins elevate him to the Tony Robbins level? But how is this man still allowed to practice the art of grift in America? Like at one point in society, I figured we would have got pitchforks, stones. I know they got stones because at one point Jesus was like, all right, who hasn't sinned? Throw the first stone, But in those circumstances, like the woman was just a cheater, a prostitute, or whatever, the circumstances were. This is like somebody actively scamming masses of people, and he's already done it once before and been caught. I have a good feeling Jesus would be hucking rocks at him like he was trying to skip him across the lake, and his forehead was the lake. It just bugs me, man. So after I got off that interview, back to the story, that job interview where he was like, you're right for the job. And I was like, and that's the process, right? Like usually there's some more protocol, like there's some introduction, you speak to HR in more detail. This guy was, again, allegedly HR, which that was the other thing that, if you don't know, anybody who works in audio or content, you're going to speak to HR at some point, but it's not during the interview process. That was the other thing. Just common sense stuff. Like if you're going to interview with somebody who's putting together audio content, you're going to speak to somebody in that department, because they're going to have the best gauge. Like I could have just made everything up, I have a long storied history, big resume of audio production. But I'm saying, like, that's easy to pull off as a grift. And this guy wouldn't have known. In fact, at one point in the interview when I was talking, he goes, oh, I'm learning a lot. Or he said something like that. And I said, oh, damn, am I giving too much away? And I've done that in interviews where they were like, oh, thank you for the content, and turned around and used my content without hiring me. And from then on, I learned I don't give, I got grifted out of my own content. Any Patrick Bet David fans in here? Yeah, we got some questions to ask you. Nothing is stronger than confirmation bias these days. It is so true. See, Bandito, that's another interesting thing. That's what we should do. Let's talk in the Discord, because you and I, we should set it up where you and I cannot talk to, who cares about Patrick Bet? This is the other thing I don't understand. I like how CoffeeZilla will talk to the people it affected. When people want to interview Patrick Bet David, like what do people think? He's going to go, you got me, I'm a grifter. What do you think Donald Trump's going to do? Say anything but everything he does turns to gold? You could see it for your eyes and he'll still tell you, no. There was the largest turnout to a parade ever. It doesn't matter. These people, that's why they're grifters, because they have no moral compass. They have no backbone. They don't tell the truth. I think, Bandito, we should do something where we talk like CoffeeZilla does, because that's some of the most powerful stuff. When you see CoffeeZilla speak to the people who were fans of these people so much that they invested their money, invested their time into them, and then got poo-pooed on. They got the old bazinga gadooshed. And I would like to find people who have been affected by them and just hear their story, Why did you love him so much? Did you think this was a not get rich quick, but did you think he would get you out of your situation? You felt like giving him your money? And how does it feel to watch this man get wealthier and wealthier while whatever their circumstance, that it didn't pay off, or it did, but not how he said it was. I'm obsessed with culture warrior thought leaders. Yeah, me too. Ample Thought, what's up? PBD is just playing the disgusting game. When we're playing, virtue means nothing. Nothing. Character is nothing. It is all an elaborate hoax, folks. And it's always funny to me that these are the ones that are like red pilled Matrix, and it's like, you fucking dingleberries. You're a bunch of dingleberries. You're all the NPCs. I've been affected. Yep. But I think it'd be fascinating to find, and that's always the thing for me. How do you find people to come out and tell their story when they were the sucker? You got to make it a safe space, but also I try to tell people, my wife taught me this. I always try to tell people, like I said earlier, when I asked the HR lady, this seems like Chat GPT in this interview. And she said, no, it's not. It's a real person. At that point, I've asked and I got my answer. If she's lying, that's not on me that I believed her. That's on her. That's her character. Now, obviously, I'm not going to invest, money or something like that, because then, foolish. That's also where discernment and age and experience comes in, and that's where they get some young kids or old people. But my God, it's not. I try to say this to the magaloids, the maggots, too, that it's okay to like admit, be like, I thought he was going to help, and I got duped. It's okay. That's not on you. You were dumb. Everybody's dumb. Hopefully you were young and dumb. But now it's time to like right that wrong, and help protect other people from experiencing that. Like that would be cool if these maggots were like, all right, he suckered me. He didn't lower eggs, you know. The budget's up more than it was, and he's about to make a permanent tax cut for CEOs of corporations. I got suckered, but now it's time to fight back against it, so we can't keep doing it, And your voice is powerful because you were the one of the ones that elevated him. Ample Thought, suckers aren't nearly as terrible as the people who have been fooled, or people who do the fooling, pretend they haven't, and convince others to be duped like they did. Yeah, I'm not interested in winning cult hearts and minds anymore. Well, and that's the other thing. There are cultists that are just diehards. They're the ride or die chicks of MAGA, and they're usually like 50-year-old white dudes. And those people, listen, if they want to say, when there's no King's protest, if they want all their actions and everything they say besides the words to be like, well, we should have a little bit of kings in America, then fuck them. It's just like during the Civil War. I always think back to that. There was people, plantation owners at least, but there were many more people who were like, nah, we're going to go to war over slavery. And it wasn't about changing their minds. It was about taking a stand against them. But I do also think there are a lot of people who got just suckered. Oh, what do we do? What do we do, people? How do we fix this? Because we got to. There isn't like, we'll vote this problem away. There isn't. You don't vote this problem away. Like, this is deep in the psychology of our country. And I mean, again, look back to what I'm talking about right now, this job interview that I've spent a week trying to give my time to, trying to secure this job. And it looks like they said you got it. But again, my gut is saying something about this seems like a scam. I don't know. I wrote the company. I know it's, 5 o'clock East Coast time? I think they're located Florida and Texas, but hopefully they write me back and they say those names are people of ours. We look forward to working with you, but who knows? And again, it's about, this is what I wish more people in America would do. It's about picking up those little things, those little pieces that when you put them all together, it shows, when you put all those little pieces together, it's a big red flag. It's a big warning sign. This is, back up. I wish more people would do that. And I'm doing it. I'm trying to share it with you. So, facture, weakness, you are it. Good commentary. I love the conversation. Fact search, weakness, you are it. Fact search. What's your definition of weakness? I'm always interested by these people. I wish I record. Bandito. It's hilarious you said that because as soon as we got off the phone, I said the next part. Of course, they told me to go back to the Microsoft Teams for the interview, and I have screenshots of that. Like I have that whole conversation. But I thought if I get on the phone with these people again, I have to record it. And usually, I just if you want to record a phone conversation, you're in a two-party state. When you pick up the phone, because corporations do this all the time, I learned this trick from them. I co-opted this trick from them. When you pick up the phone, you just say, before you say your name, anything, hello, you just say, this call is being recorded for quality assurance. Okay. And usually people just go, okay. And you catch them like that. And that's what corporations do. They say, this call is recorded for security and quality assurance reasons. Okay. And everybody goes, oh, okay. So I just do that to them. And then if they don't answer, I'll say, oh, you got to call me back. Or I'll hang up and let them call me back. I want one of those interviews. Fact search. What is your definition of weakness, if you don't mind? I'm always fascinated by these people who love to show off bravado, but then when I just ask for simple definitions, they don't like to give it. Maybe he's typing. Maybe it's a long, thought-out philosophical answer of weakness. It's like the Joe Rogans of the world, What's tough? Smoking a cigar in front of an American flag. It's parody. It's like if Saturday Night Live wrote a sketch, they couldn't have written it that well. Oh. But I will keep you guys posted on this because I'm very curious. And I guess I got to write this Microsoft Teams person back. I'm curious what they'll say. Also, I mean, I could screenshot everything, but I'll record it. Yeah. But I will keep you guys posted. I'll let you know tomorrow. Hopefully this company reaches back to me. Hopefully, again, they say those are our people. But something deep in my gut is saying something's off with this. Something's really off with this. I will keep you guys posted. Thank you guys for taking some time. We'll talk some more news tomorrow. Bandito, Ample, if you guys come back tomorrow. I really want to talk about this Trump cell phone that he's launching. I can't believe the president is launching a cell phone plan. This is like end game capitalism. I feel like Doctor Strange is going, there's one way out of this. Check out your last comment. I read the other comment. That's what that fact search is. Yeah, he pretends he hasn't been duped. He wants to convince others. All right, guys, have a great evening. Check in with me tomorrow. That's why I say hit the notification bell, hit subscribe. Thank you, much love, and be careful out there. Everybody's looking for a sucker. I mean, we got a sucker president who's looking for more suckers. It's a big MLM. It's a multi-level marketing scam. That's what American politics is. Oh, God. All right, guys. Have a good one. Peace.